Rachel Zegler has never been one to stay quiet, and the recent news that Disney is planning a second reboot of Snow White has ignited a wave of fury that she's making no effort to hide. After all the backlash surrounding the first live-action remake, a $115 million box office loss, and endless online debates, you might think Disney would steer clear of stirring the pot. But instead, the announcement lit a fuse, and Rachel is back in the spotlight, this time unleashing full-on rage and stirring rumors of behind-the-scenes turmoil that go deeper than most realized. It all started with high hopes and Hollywood buzz back in 2016 when Disney officially announced a live-action Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. With a script penned by La La Land's Benj, Pasek and Justin Paul, and director Marc Webb on board by 2019, fans were divided but curious. The cast eventually came together with Rachel Zegler as Snow White, Gal Gadot as the Evil Queen, and newcomer Andrew Burnap stepping into a brand new male lead role. From there, things seemed to move forward, albeit through fires, literally, on-set flames in March 2022 delayed production, test screening troubles, and endless rewrites. But the real turbulence began with the casting and commentary. Rachel Zegler's casting alone sparked intense online discourse. While some praised Disney for casting a Latina actress in an iconic role, traditionalists took issue, feeling that the reimagining was erasing something essential about the original character. Rachel met the backlash head-on, proudly pointing out that Snow White was beloved across Spanish-speaking cultures and affirming her excitement to bring a fresh cultural perspective to the role. Then came the interviews, and that's when things took a serious turn. Zegler called the original Snow White extremely dated, took aim at the film's prince character for being weird, and made it clear that her Snow White wasn't dreaming of true love, but of leadership. To some, it was a welcome feminist revision. To others, it was sacrilege. Her critiques were picked apart across the internet, especially by fans who felt that she was dismissing the timeless charm and romance that made the original a classic. As if that weren't enough, political lines began to form around the production. In August 2024, after Disney released the film's teaser, Rachel posted a message on social media ending with, "Free Palestine." Given that her co-star, Gal Gadot, is Israeli and vocally pro-Israel, the post sparked an immediate and explosive online firestorm. The comments, hashtags, and boycotts rolled in, and people began dissecting every red carpet glance and interview snippet for signs of conflict between the two actresses. Old tweets from Zegler resurfaced, too, some targeting Donald Trump and his supporters, and added yet another layer of controversy. By November, she issued a public apology, asking for grace and hoping that her work would speak louder than past mistakes. But the damage was already done. The internet had its narrative, and the set was reportedly tense, with security allegedly increased for Gadot amid threats. The two leads weren't doing joint interviews. Promotional events were split. The vibe, cold. Then came the box office results. Despite all the attention, good and bad, Snow White debuted to a soft $42.2 million domestically, underperforming Disney's modest expectations. Internationally, the numbers weren't much better, pulling in $87.3 million globally in its first weekend. Considering a bloated production budget of $240 to $270 million, plus marketing costs, the financial losses were massive, estimated at around $115 million. And that doesn't even include future revenue projections that were now dead on arrival. Critics weren't generous either. Rotten Tomatoes gave the film a 42% score, with reviews describing it as confused, unsure of its tone, and weighed down by mixed messaging. Metacritic delivered a 50, which in critic speak, is a shrug. CinemaScore audiences gave it a B+, a solid if uninspired reaction. While Zegler's performance was frequently praised, the film's structure, visuals, and storytelling left many wondering whether Disney understood what made the original beloved in the first place. In the aftermath, Zegler remained composed. She defended the creative choices, stood by the vision, and insisted that the new version brought something worthwhile to the table. She acknowledged the criticism but didn't waver. Gal Gadot, meanwhile, kept her responses diplomatic and distanced, emphasizing the collaborative effort without offering much commentary on the film's reception. But Snow White's failure didn't just hurt its own brand, it rippled across Disney's entire live-action strategy. Most notably, the long-planned live-action Tangled reboot was suddenly put on hold. Though director Michael Gracey and screenwriter Jennifer K. Tin Robinson had already been lined up, the project was quietly shelved as the studio reassessed the future of their fairy tale reimaginings. Now all eyes are on Lilo and Stitch, scheduled to hit theaters on May 23, 2025. Directed by Dean Fleischer Camp, The live-action version boasts an all-Hawaiian cast, with Maya Kealoha as Lilo and Chris Sanders reprising his voice role as Stitch. The casting and cultural respect behind the scenes have earned early praise, but after Snow White, the pressure is on. Fans are already cautious, wondering whether the story will be altered or over-modernized like its predecessor. Then comes Moana, which will premiere July 10, 2026. With Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson returning as Maui and newcomer Catherine Lagoaya playing Moana, Disney hopes to recapture the cultural and commercial magic of the original. Lin-Manuel Miranda is back to compose the music, and the production is leaning heavily into authenticity and emotional depth. The stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just about a movie anymore. It's about whether Disney can recover from the blow delivered by Snow White. For Rachel Zegler, the story is far from over. While she may be frustrated with how Disney handled the entire situation, she remains at the center of one of the most talked-about entertainment controversies of the past few years. Whether she returns to the Disney fold in future projects or distances herself from the studio entirely is anyone's guess. But her voice, her defiance, and her unapologetic personality have ensured that even in the face of a $115 million flop, she isn't fading quietly into the background. As the dust settles, fans and critics alike are left with one lingering question. Was this a bold reinvention gone wrong, or a cultural flashpoint that exposed deeper fractures in Hollywood's approach to legacy storytelling? Either way, Disney will have to tread much more carefully going forward. Because if Snow White proved anything, it's that not all fairy tales are built to survive the modern age.